Welcome everybody to another Black and White SU Open set. Today we have Bello Figo versus M1CHAEL Jordan. This is a set I've already seen before. There's some fire coming in, especially in the game 2. But we are looking at, not super familiar with either of these players, but we're looking at some cool teams. On one side, we do see a pretty bulky Spikes lineup with the Bulky Breaker and Crocona, the Spike Setter and Badoo, sort of a Fast Cleaner and Abra, and likely Lunatone as a Rock Setter, which can kind of go offensive. On the other hand, we're looking at some sort of seldom seen defensive mons. We do see the Sea King. Great roll compression for Luxray and Vanillix, though we're not going to see a Vanillix in this game. And then also the Vullaby, which I think likes running physical defense and can be solid against Fearow. And then aside from that, we're going to see Sudowoodo, unconventional rock setter. I love that guy. And pretty standard mons outside of that. So let's roll. I'm going to see a Badoo lead versus the Magmar. Magmar going to threaten out Badoo immediately. And actually going to read the switch into Lunatone as well with a Hidden Power Grass. Going for one more. Okay. And we are going to see the Moonlight, though. Going to be able to tank that. M1CHAEL happy to sort of farm out those Moonlights, but we're eventually going to see rocks go up in exchange for a lot of damage on Lunatone and a Moonlight PP. But I think Lickitung going to be able to pretty easily neutralize this Magmar. As we see Vullaby come in on a Seismic Toss. Gonna get Switch Initiative on this Roost, or actually on this knockoff. No Flame Orb for Luxray, gonna be a lot weaker. That's a really huge hit. And a nice double switch. Gonna allow you to set that first layer of spikes, and this is looking very dangerous for M1CHAEL, especially with the ability to sort of wall this Magmar out. Once these offensive mons are gone, I think the defensive core is going to be able to pretty easily outlast a lot of the slower, sort of bulkier mons that M1CHAEL has. But Sudowoodo is going to give quite a bit of a threat, going to set rocks and then hit a cheeky wood hammer. Love this guy. Going to get outran, though, by the Badoo. That's a natural thing. Vullaby in, and is probably going to be able to get some recovery here. Yeah, okay, gets that. I'm curious how much damage it takes from a Wild Charge, but I guess we're not going to see. We're actually going to see the Ice Fang. Okay. An unfortunate crit there. And yeah, we're going to see the forfeit. Yeah, this is... It was very hard to really come back here on M1CHAEL's side at this point. You see the Hazard disadvantage. Not a ton that can really outrun and threaten in the same way. I think your best move was Crocona, but I think it kind of gets neutralized by probably the Abra. The Abra likely Focus Sash, and then the Crocona can make a solid trade along with the hazard damage. Going back to game 2, we see some cool mons. We see the Drillbur, the Lampent on M1CHAEL's team, and then we see one of the funniest team comps I've seen. We see the Luxray as sort of a regular top tier, the Sudowoodo likely an offensive rocker of some kind, and then 4 mons you never see in this metagame. I think Chatot is definitely the most normal of them. It's just sort of a... I'm not sure if it gets Nasty Plot or if it's just work up, but it's just sort of an offensive guy, clicks big normal moves on the special side. But these other 3, I assume all just water type breakers? Shell Smash Shelder, Swords Dance Krabby, Swords Dance Corphish. So let's see how this works out. Sudowoodo is coming in. Likely going to see an instant rocks with this lineup. Really just want to get the hazards and go crazy with it. Yeah. Swapping out of the Badoo, going to trade rocks for spikes. Chatot in. It is Nasty Blood, okay. Gets hit with Sludge Bomb, going to take a couple of those. Hyper Voice, big damage on Badoo. Okay, it is going to manage to break through the Spike Setter. Corsola in. I think it's going to take quite a bit from a Hyper Voice, though. Yep. Yeah, and this is the problem. You're bringing in the Corsola expecting it to take the damage, The issue with this is that now you have done significant damage on your Corsola, you've done significant damage on your Badoo, as opposed to, for example, just simply sacking the Badoo and going into Luxray and revenging. Yeah, now your Fira is dead, which is pretty huge for this lineup at counterplaying stuff like these waters. Yeah, and it was Scarflux, so you could have saved quite a bit of health there. Drillblade's going to come back in, as we do see Shelder. Going to EQ that as an Icicle Spear comes out. Not actually going to Shell Smash. Unfortunate. Probably expecting to... Maybe expecting some greed, but smart play from Michael to prevent that nonsense from going down. Sudowoodo is packing the Sucker Punch, another one of Sudowoodo's very large bags of tricks. Gonna actually hit the Ice Punch on the Badoo. Okay, yeah. You just get all the right moves. Luxray in. We're gonna see the swap out. Probably on another Volt Switch, yeah. This Luxray is looking very threatening. If you can safeguard the Luxray, I think you can still win on Michael's side. And I think Corphish is dying, Krabby's dying, Sudowoodo is dying at this point. On the other hand, this Guts Luxray very, very threatening. You are going to be able to negate it with the Rocky Helmet Corsola, finally going to be able to kill at this point. But your only Mon remaining is the Luxray. Sudowoodo comes in on the Luxray. If there's enough priority on this team, I'm really scared that the combination of these Aqua Jets will just kill. We actually see a swap out. Sudowoodo now at 20%. Okay, it's Custep Boom. No way. Repositioning the Sudowoodo out to take double hazard damage and then snap the boom damage. I did calc this. I believe with no boosting item, Explosion does 66. If you're running Max Attack Adamant, which I assume this Sudowoodo is with the numbers it was hitting. So, yeah, no. Sudowoodo just going absolutely nuts. And there we go. Bello is going to win in 2.